Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is my good friend Tavi Costa, partner and portfolio manager at Crescat Capital. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, huge pleasure having you coming down, Tavi. I wanted to get you down to talk about everything that's happening in precious metals, the stock markets, everything that's going on right now. Huge excitement in precious metals right now as we're recording this on the 23rd. Silver is up almost at the $34 mark. Gold, there's so much excitement in gold in the past 5, 6 months, even the past year. What are your thoughts on silver and gold right now till the end of 2025?
Oh, I'm very excited. I think that there has been a lot of bearishness on gold just because it's of supposedly overbought levels, of which assets will get to those moments, and it's quite normal. But I think what's happening with gold is actually very healthy, and it's part of a thesis that has been holding off the metal for a very long time. And what we're seeing in terms of accumulation of gold is not going to end here because of overbought levels, in my view. So this little bit of a correction that we had here recently, to me, is continues to be a window of opportunity. Now, on the silver side, it's hard to ignore silver when the gold to silver ratio is above 100. Today, we dipped below that level. In fact, the move on the gold to silver ratio was the largest since 2008, October of 2008. And that
Wow.
time, to remind everybody, we were at 85 or so in the gold to silver ratio. And that marked the beginning of a downward trend on that ratio all the way to 30. If we go
Wow.
back to 30 now, silver would be at $110 an ounce. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go there. I'm not saying that's the target price. All I'm saying is these things are extremely undervalued. It's remarkable to have silver at 30, 33, $35 an ounce and have a gold to silver ratio at these levels. It's like the S&P 500 with a CAPE ratio of 5. That would be the analogy. It's insanely undervalued in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was speaking to people in the past couple of weeks, some bullion dealers, some people in the silver and gold industry, and they said, it's only been the gold and silver ratio has only been over 100 4 times in the past 100 or 150 years. If so, 4 times is like, it's pretty crazy. And now that we're dipping below that mark again, and if it does go down to the historical level of what silver and gold average ratio is, what would this do to the whole silver industry, the mining sector? What would it do to the explorers, the producers? What are your thoughts?
Well, first, usually gold moves, and then all these other derivatives of the metal tend to perform very well. And that is the miners, we've seen the seniors doing quite well. We're yet to see the juniors do well. And silver has been sort of doing okay, but not as well as gold, obviously. And I think we're just at the beginning of that. And you mentioned the gold to silver ratio at 100 or so, and we haven't seen too many moments in history of those. I always say this, there's two types of investors. Those, when they see those charts, they say, this time is different. There's a reason why we're going above 100 and we're going to stay there for a very long time. And others that look at those charts and say, I like history and I know this is not a normal thing. And in fact, this is usually a great opportunity, probably more compelling than anything else out there. For you to be accumulating the metal and taking advantage of what is, supposedly extremely undervalued moment for silver relative to gold. I tend to be on the latter side of it. I've always looked at history. I always look at those historical trends, and I think it's hard to ignore the fact that we have silver at these levels, supposedly in a massive cup and handle, about to probably break out to all-time highs once we see this momentum reemerging. So it is extremely exciting for those that are in precious metals industry because we've been waiting for that moment. And silver has been mocked as this metal that has just not worked for a long time. And I disagree with that labeling of silver because I understand that sometimes things take time to unfold, but doesn't mean that the thesis is wrong. And so, in my view, if anything, things have only been more and more confirmed because of the reaction that we have seen so far with gold prices over the last few years. And so, yeah, I'm really bullish and extremely excited for the next for the end of the year here on silver.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metal storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Now, what would you say, I guess, Tavi, to the overall, like, markets, not just, putting silver and gold aside, what's concerning you right now in the markets? Is it the debt levels? Is it bonds? Is it treasuries? Like, what's concerning you right now? Stock market?
Not as concerned about the stock market just because of how much of a decline we've already seen in markets. However, the optimism we've seen today, just because of the supposedly better trade deal with China and others, is maybe overly optimistic. I think my point is there is a risk of a recession in the economy. The markets have been front running that in a big way, therefore why we've seen the correction. What I think it's the biggest risk is actually the 2-year yields could be cut in half or be a lot lower than where it is right now. That to me is one of the biggest macro opportunities, outside of precious metals, just because I don't think yields deserve to be where they are, hovering around 4% currently on the 2-year yield. And the Fed is extremely stubborn
Right.
on their views and maybe political, or some people think I actually think the Fed is being very political personally, but not to get into that situation. What I think it's happening is, regardless of that view, rates are too high in the very short end on T-bills, and that's going to cause the economy probably to contract. If we see the economy contracting, it's going to force the Fed to react. And once the Fed starts to show the market that it's going to react, the 2-year yield is going to lead that much quicker. And so we may see the 3-month versus the 2-year yield to invert in a big way. And that's already happening. And I think it's going to happen. It's going to accelerate as we get into a more problematic state of the economy itself. And so if I would point to something that I think it's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, I think the 2-year yield is going to be cut in half.
Absolutely. That's what a lot of people I've had on recently have said, and I guess it's a big concern once you're seeing these type of numbers, and that's what everyone wants to look out for. What would be your advice right now, Tavi, for someone, there's so much excitement in silver and gold, silver making new moves. But what would you give advice to the new silver and gold investor? Let's say that it's the younger generation, the younger crowd. They're seeing you now, right now on this channel for the first time. What would you tell them to do?
Well, I'm young too, I guess. So I guess it's an advice to myself as well. But I always try to not be too cute with markets. I think there's this sort of inclination in especially technical analysts and folks that like to look at charts like that, of trying to predict every move in the market. And it's just not how it works. Let me tell you that Warren Buffett's not looking at how things are overbought or oversold. They're looking for things that have a lot of value and have a massive amount of potential appreciation ahead of us. And a lot of these companies, in terms of the mining space, have that potential. There's a lot of things that don't have any potential, but may be lifted because of the macro environment. And so this is the time for you to try to learn as much as you can about this industry to avoid some of those mistakes. I've been learning this industry for at least the last half a decade already, or maybe close to a decade now. In terms of trying to, it's such a niche. Mining is such a niche strategy overall in industry,
Right.
but also a legacy space that is not going away. No, for those that don't understand that, I mean, mining used to be about 20% of GDP back in those days in the 60s. And today it's about 0.4% in terms of relative to GDP. And
Wow.
so, that's really the opportunity you have, learning about what are the best projects out there, and trying to deploy capital into this. So this is, I'm not trying to predict silver prices next week, next tomorrow or so. I like to look at the behavior of the metal in gold as well. But to me, the big money will be made on creating, building companies and investing in companies and trying to create value in general. So that's really the way I would suggest investors, young people, to be spending time on, not technical analysis and why something is overbought and oversold over the last 30 days.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Yeah, but more in the value of building companies and Crescat Capital recently, you guys made some moves on some mining companies. Can you, care to explain why you guys invested in those certain mining companies, and if you want to share those mining companies?
Without getting into specifics on names, we've been very busy just because of the capital we have raised from Macro. I mean, Macro, for a macro strategy, Macro has been a good year for those who are invested in macroeconomics in general, and that understand, how markets get stressed and there's opportunities in both sides of the market. And so we've been fortunate enough to make money this year so far. And that allowed us to have enough liquidity to start redeploying that into mining, because that's what we view as the most undervalued part of the market. And so, yeah, we're extremely excited about the mining industry. I think a lot of people continue to dismiss the opportunity. And so being able to rotate out of great ideas in the macro side, generate capital from good investment decisions on that side, and then redeploying into something that we view as historically cheap, is to me, a great strategy to create wealth. And so that's what we've been trying to replicate over time. We work closely with Quinton Henney and identifying what we think are the best exploration, discovery stories and companies that are out there, to find new metal discoveries. I mean, that's our goal. And that to me is really where the big wealth was made in this industry. So it's almost like a hybrid venture capital approach of betting on a bunch of companies and having one or a few of them becoming unicorns, or if that's the term in the technology space.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you go, Tavi, I really want people to connect with you. Everyone watching this, Tavi has an incredible LinkedIn where he posts regularly on, financial markets, silver, gold, and the charts that you share and the wealth of knowledge is so valuable and incredible, and it's really easy to understand. So, where can people connect with you? Is it just Tavi Costa for your LinkedIn? I'll put it in the description below as well.
That's right. Well, thanks again for inviting me for this interview and also for allowing me to share that. Yeah, if you just type Tavi Costa, you'll find me on LinkedIn, but also at Tavi Costa on X is also another way you can see my daily posts and analysis that I shared in those social media platforms. But always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, everyone watching this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Again, I highly recommend you to go follow Tavi on his Twitter, follow it on his LinkedIn. You'll find so many valuable charts and a wealth of knowledge. Tavi, as always, such a huge pleasure having you come down, and so excited to see you in the future.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon.